do, however, is share stories, because that's what Eric and I do, and it's what we love to do. So we thought we would share a story that we created with you, and then we hoped that you would create a story with us.
Yeah, and I wanted to start off by talking about what it is that makes a picture book. And if you look at one of these things, some of the stories, or the story that's told, is told through words and pictures. Now, do words and pictures always do the same thing in a story? Anybody? Do the words and the pictures always say the same thing?
No.
Probably not. So, I can start off with a word and begin to tell a story. Like, I'm going to draw something for you. And I do this all the time, so I think I know what I'm doing. So I'm going to draw, I don't know, a baby. Everybody here know what a baby looks like? Or about this tall? There's one back there, if anybody needs a reminder. Baby. So, if I draw a baby, and it doesn't look like a baby, I failed. And the reason I failed is I'm talking about drawing a baby. If I draw a toaster, you're going to go, why is that? He said it was a baby. So it's really important when you're drawing, when you're writing, to be clear, to make sure that the people that you want to show your story to understand what you're trying to say. So I'm going to draw a picture of a baby right here. But here's the deal. If it doesn't look like a baby, I need you to tell me, politely. I mean, we are in a sanctuary now. So I'm going to draw a baby for you, and you can tell me if it looks like it. And there's all kinds of babies. I'll draw a cute baby. Baby.
And Alex, I talk in my ear, but Alex, if you want to move over to see better, yeah. And I'm going to move over here just in case.
Baby. Now, like I said, this is a cute baby. Baby.
Is that a baby?
Picture of a baby?
Does that look like a baby to you?
Because this is usually the part of, after I draw, people are sort of awed by our artistic ability. And I didn't hear any awes here. I don't know what that's about. Is this a baby? No. It's a picture of a baby, Alex? No. What is it? A picture of a word. Does anybody know what that word is? It's baby, right?
No.
Soccer. Is soccer the same as baby? No. So are the letters in the word baby even letters that are in the word soccer? No. Oh, so what am I doing here, huh? So, soccer. It's a game. It's not a baby. I suppose babies can play soccer, but it's not. So what does this have to do with it? Well, if I'm going to draw a picture of a baby, don't I use lines and shapes and colors? Right? If I write the word soccer, don't I use lines and shapes and colors? So the way that I draw and the way that I write is the same. And the reason I say that is because the actual writing of a story takes place in your head. Whether you draw it or write it is just a different way to tell the story. You could tell it with a song or dance. Did you want interpretive dance?
Not today.
No, not today. Okay. Sometimes she just breaks out into Swan Lake. It's a beautiful thing. So this is a word. Word isn't a picture. Does anybody here believe that that's a baby? No. Anybody at all? No. No believers in the room that it's a baby? Nobody trusts that it's a baby? No. Not one person? No. Please, someone raise their hand. Yes. Yeah, and what's your name? Shannon. This is why Shannon's the smartest woman in the room. Soccer has an O in it, right? And two C's. There's a C and there's a C. And then it has an E, which I'm going to put on its side, and take one of the exclamation points and put it here. Yeah. What are the two dots of the exclamation points? What do you think they are? What am I going to use these two dots for? Eyes, yeah. Eyes. Yeah. And what about the S? Hair, yeah. If this was my Uncle Rob, it would be here. But it isn't. And poor Uncle Rob, yeah, like that. And then I'm going to put the R here upside down. That's right. So Shannon was right. She believed in me, thank you. Soccer is a baby. Now, it's a little trick, isn't it? But let me ask you, did I use all the lines that I drew? Or did I use all the lines here to draw the baby? What didn't I use? Oh, there's a C here and a C here. But I flipped the C. Yeah. There's also one more line here. And the reason, of course, I need 2 exclamation points is I needed 2 eyes, right? So I'm going to change who this baby is by using that line. When you draw, when you tell stories, you're going to have a character who acts different in different ways. So now I have a baby, life is good, everything's working out for him, and I'm going to change that right now. There we go. Different baby. Yeah, this is a baby who may be doing something he shouldn't. Not that any baby would ever do anything like that, right? But let me do it this way. I'm sure this makes for a compelling video to show the back. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so, hey, is he just holding money or did he do something with it? Why does he have a bag of money? Anybody? He's a bad guy. He's a bad guy. So stories begin with ideas, and then stories go from ideas to words or pictures or movement or song. And at least what we do is we put the words and the pictures together. Isn't that right? Yeah.
So let's let them try their own story.
All right.
Shall we? Okay, we have to say goodbye to the baby.
Say bye to the baby.
Bye, baby.
Bye, bye, baby. Bye, bye. There we go.
A little bit.
He's sort of a ghost, isn't he?
We've talked about those words and we've talked about the pictures, but now it's your turn. So we're going to ask you to create a story, and how we're going to do that is with a little help from me, a lot of help from Eric, because he's going to illustrate it for us. But what you'll see is what it is that Eric and I do in our own home when we're creating stories together. It's the same exact process. What we're going to do together is what Eric and I do at home together. So today we're going to create a story. And everybody knows that a story needs a character, a main character. Who is our story going to be about? Now my guess is that you guys came here this morning not knowing that you were going to need a character. But I don't have a problem with that, because I've got a room full of wildly imaginative people. I can tell just by looking at your faces. And so I'm just going to do this. I'm going to walk around and I'm going to point at you, ma'am, and I'm going to say, give me a first name, any first name, except Bob. Any first name. Anna. Are you an Anna? Okay. And if there's an Anna in here, we're not writing about you. Okay. So our character is named Anna, but we do not know enough about Anna to create a story about her. So here's my next question. Who can name an animal? Alex, what is your favorite animal?
My favorite animal is the fastest one in the whole entire world, which is a cheetah.
Which is the
Why do they
cheetah.
always pick stripes and spots? It takes so long to draw stripes and spots.
Our
Cheetah.
character today is Anna the cheetah, which is great already. Okay. While Eric is creating Anna the cheetah, I'm going to ask you 2 questions about Anna, because we still don't know enough to tell a picture about her. So here's my first question. How does Anna look? Now, if you tell me she has a tail, she looks like a big cat, she has 4 legs, she has spots, I would say, I know that. I get that picture already in my head. So I'm going to ask again, how does she look? Is there anything unusual or extraordinary or different about her physical appearance that you might want your readers to know about? Anybody have a suggestion? Anything they want to offer up? Yes. She has a parrot on her shoulder, like a pirate.
Did you say she has a parent on her shoulder?
No, a parrot,
Oh,
not
okay.
a parent. A pet parent. That's
Oh, I mean, you never know.
Right. This is also how Eric and I get all kinds of ideas.
I'm going to have
for
to
our
put the
next
parrot up
books,
here.
right? I'm going to have a parent on my shoulder. My head is already going with that story. Okay. All right, she's got a parrot on her shoulder, her pet. Is there any other physical characteristic about her that you would want your reader to know? Anybody else? Alex? Is she wearing something besides another bird? Or does she have... Oh, does she want her to have necklace and earrings? No. I think your mom wants her to have a necklace and earrings.
Something else?
Oh, what about a hat? What kind of hat? A top hat. Wonderful. She's quite a character. Now we have this story. Now we have a character that we're beginning to grow. We have a character named Anna. She's a cheetah. She goes around with her pet parrot on her shoulder, and she always wears a top hat. I'm going to ask the second question about our character, Anna. How does she act most of the time? What's her most predominant personality trait? If you asked me, what is my oldest son's most predominant personality trait? How does he act most of the time? I would say he's talkative. If you were to ask me how my son Michael was most of the time, I would say shy. So how does Anna act most of the time? Did you have an answer how she behaves most of the time? She's talkative? She's a chat cheetah? Okay. So, now we're beginnings of a story. Can you see? We have the beginnings of a story. Once upon a time, there was a cheetah named Anna. She was a talkative cheetah. She talked all the time. And she probably talked to that parrot that's sitting on her shoulder all of the time. And she always wore a top hat. Is it the end? No. Now, I'm going to ask you another question because it's not a good enough story just to say the end. So the next thing I'm going to ask you is, where does our story take place? All stories have to take place somewhere. Where does our story take place? Now, here's my favorite writer thing to do. When I am making up a story out of the air, just like we are right now, I love to put my character someplace I least expect to find her. So cheetah, I might think I would automatically say the zoo, yeah, or where do cheetahs live?
Africa.
Africa. You can see I would never write a story about the cheetah, right? Where would we put our story? Someplace unlikely. Someplace surprising, someplace you wouldn't expect to find a cheetah. Does anybody have one they want to add? What do you have one? Tell me again. Antarctica. I love it. That's so good. And
so what you're asking me to do is draw a predominantly white place on a whiteboard.
Yeah. You don't have to do any work. There you go.
Yeah.
But you can you already see your story building? And all we've done is ask a couple of questions. So now we have a story and it goes like this. Once upon a time, there was a cheetah named Anna. She talked, chattered all the time to her pet parrot, who always sat on her shoulder. And Anna always wore her top hat. She was in Antarctica. The end. Not good enough, right? I'm going to ask my third question. What is Anna doing in the South Pole when our story first begins? Now, she probably won't be doing something really exciting. You guys know when you read the first page of a book, the first chapter of a book, you meet the character doing something typical and ordinary in their everyday life. So what would our cheetah Anna be doing, typical, ordinarily doing in Antarctica? What's she doing there? Does anybody have something they want to add? What is she doing there? You? Did you say me? Not me? Anyway, adults are allowed to answer too. Shopping. Okay, I love it. She's shopping for what? What would be in Antarctica?
Snow?
What was that? A fur jacket. Okay. So she's shopping because she doesn't have a good enough one. Okay, I love that. Okay, so she's shopping. Maybe for a fur jacket, maybe for another pet penguin, I don't know, another bird, and she's shopping. something she typically does. So now we have this story. Once upon a time, there was a cheetah named Anna who talked all the time to her pet parrot, who was always on her shoulder, and she always wore a top hat. One day, in her home in Antarctica, she was shopping for coats and new hats and new parrots, whatever, when something came along to stop her shopping. That's my next question. What comes along to keep Anna from doing her shopping? What keeps her from getting that coat that she really wants? What comes along? Now, if you tell me that a big T-Rex came along and stepped on Anna, that would be a problem, but it would also be the end of your story. And so you need a problem that she can actually struggle against. For example, if you say, oh, she was running across the ice and she slipped and broke one of her 4 legs, I would say to you that would be a really boring story. It's a problem, yeah, but a really dull one for a story, because what could she do? Go to the vet and then have that leg in a cast, and then your story would be, and she healed, and she healed, and she healed, the end. You wouldn't even get to the end. You'd close that story up, right? So, what does she have to do? What does she have to struggle against to get to that shopping that she so desperately wants? What would be a problem that would come along? Sir?
Penguin.
A penguin? Would it be a special kind of penguin? Is it a big penguin? Is it a giant penguin?
It's a penguin that's this part as big as the jacket with eyebrows.
Ooh, okay. I love it. And he's got the eyebrows in there. That was awesome. I love him. All right, nothing I like better than an evil penguin. Okay. So now we have, and what is that? Penguin wants that coat too? Okay. So now we have a story. We have, once upon a time, there was a cheetah named Anna, and she was talkative. She talked all the time. She talked to the parrot that was sitting on her shoulder all the time, and she wore a top hat all the time. One day in Antarctica, she decided to go shopping for a new coat, and she found the perfect, most beautiful coat, and it had, I think you told me, a hood, right? And it had a big fur hood. Don't worry about the hood.
Yeah.
It had a big fur hood. And just as she started to grab that coat that she wanted so badly, out stepped an evil penguin with eyebrows. And the evil penguin said, "This is my coat."
That's what a penguin sounds like?
Yeah, don't you think?
Yeah.
Alex, don't I sound like an evil penguin?
I thought they would
Okay.
be a little squeakier, but what do I
This
know?
is my coat. Okay. All right. Yeah, you like that one better. Now, do we say the end? No, we can't leave her in that fix. Is she going to get her coat or not? My next question is, how is she going to solve it? But here's the thing. I'm going to ask you, first of all, for 3 ways that she solves it, because writers always use this thing they call the magic of 3. So the first time she tries to solve a problem, she won't succeed. She'll have to try harder. And the second time, she won't succeed, and she'll have to try even harder. And the third time, well, you're the writer, so you can decide, does she succeed and get to keep that coat, or does she give that coat to the evil penguin? You get to decide. Here's the other thing. You set up the rules of your story. I'm going to say that again. You set up the rules of your story. You told me that she has a parrot, she has a top hat, and she's a cheetah. Those are the only things that she can use to solve her problem. If she suddenly pulls out a magic wand and poof, turns that penguin into a pile of banana pudding, I will tell you that's a cheat, because you never told me that she was a character that carried a magic wand. Additionally,
But you said she was a cheater.
A what?
Cheater.
Oh, she's a cheetah. Additionally, she has to solve the problem herself. She cannot pull out her cell phone and call the army, the police, or her mommy to come and solve her penguin problem. She has to figure that problem out for herself. So what is she going to try the very first time? She's standing there in the store at the South Pole, and wants that coat, and the penguin has just ripped it out of her paws, and he's holding it between his flippers, and and with his mean eyebrow is saying, "This is my coat." What is she going to do the first time to try to get that coat from her? What would she do? And remember, she's going to use her own tools. Alex, you're just dying. What is she going to use? Oh, how's she going to do it? I love that she's going to do. What would she try the first time that won't work?
Maybe I bet this will work by using her claws.
Okay, so she's going to pull out her claws, and she's going to show them to that fierce penguin. And why won't that work? Why won't that work?
Because he's too fast.
The penguin?
Maybe not, but I hope it works if we see it coming back.
He could be. We're in the South Pole, and what do they slide on, penguins?
They can slide on their belly.
There you go. You got it, dude. Oh, this is so good. Okay, so now we have the first attempt. So Anna says, "No, that's my coat." And she pulls out her claws, and she shows her great sharp claws, and the penguin laughs, grabs that coat even closer, and slides away on his tummy. Shoo, you cannot catch me.
Here you go. There's movement right there. Don't have enough board for tummy.
What does she try the second time? And remember, she's still going to fail. What will she try the second time? Using all of her characteristics. She's got a penguin. She's got a top hat. She's a talker. What might she try next? Yeah.
She uses her chattiness and tries to tell us like some kind of rhyme or riddle to distract
Oh, that's brilliant. Okay, so she runs after him. He's slid away on his belly. He's still got the coat. The coat is mine. I'm not giving it up. And she says, "Oh, yeah?" And then she starts talking at him and talking at him and telling him a riddle and telling him a joke and talking at him and talking at him and talking at him. And why doesn't that work? Because if somebody did that to me, I'd be like, "Whatever you want, take the coat. I'm done." So why doesn't it work? Why does that fail? What does the penguin do in response? Why doesn't that work? Do you know, sir, why it doesn't work? You have an idea?
I've got an idea of how she can do it. She could cover up his eyes. She could cover up his eyes with her top hat.
Okay, we're gonna. Oop, I think I might have gone off. All right, so here we go. It doesn't work. The chattering doesn't work. Penguins, I guess they're used to chatter. They live in big groups of penguins. Oh, he put his earmuffs on. Brilliant. Okay, he put on his earmuffs. He's wearing his earmuffs. I know. Poor Anna has to try that last time. How will she get her coat? And my friend, what did you tell me again?
She'll cover up his eyes with her.
I love it.
With her top.
So she's like, "Fine, put your earmuffs on. Watch what I can do." And she pulls off her top hat and she puts it right over the penguin. And now he can't see anything. And she grabs her coat and she runs as fast as she can, which is pretty fast because she's a cheetah. And she has a new coat. The end. We do miss a few things. We don't have a title for our story. Can anyone add a title for our story? Anna blah blah looks pretty well for me right off the bat. Sir, yes. Do you have a title? What would you call your story? If this was yours, what would you call it? Yeah. Oh, Anna the talking cheetah? Absolutely. What would you call your story? What would you call this story? It's so good. Penguin is awesome. What would you call it, Alex?
I would call it Cheetah in the Big War.
No, Cheetah in the Big War. What would you call it, sir?
I call it Anna the Cheetah.
Anna, and then I like the emphasis. Anna the cheetah. What would you call it? So cool. Anna with the penguin, absolutely.
Parrot doesn't get a lot of love, does it? Yeah.
I love him. Well, that's why he's permanently
See,
where she
yeah.
talks to him. It is why he's permanently.
Yeah, maybe it should have been a parrot.
So that's our shared story. That's what Eric and I do at home. Believe it or not, this is what Eric and I do at home all the time. probably going, what? This?
Yeah, this is what
Ab-
adult, I'm almost
absolutely.
60, and this is what I do every day, alone in a room. It's a good life.
So we thought now that you've shared a story with us, we would share a story with you. One that we've already created. Will you hold the pictures while I do this?
Okay, I was going to show. Can we have, or Al, can you, I don't know if you could turn the pages, but could you come? Can you? No, not read. No, I'm sure you're great at it. But if you could just hold that, and as we go from page to page, because we thought we'd have a big giant screen, but we don't. So, yeah.
So it starts, our story is called Bulldozer's Big Day, and it starts here. The construction site bustled. Cement mixer was stirring. Crane truck was lifting. Digger truck was scooping. And bulldozer, little bulldozer, he was watching. He said with a sigh. Puffing some smoke from his stack, he bumped to where the other trucks were. I can help, he exclaimed. He raised his blade high, hopefully. You're too little, rumbled Dump Truck. You'll get hurt. Building skyscrapers is a rough, tough job, clattered Cement Truck. For rough, tough trucks, clattered Digger. Bulldozer turned away. The big trucks looked at one another. But maybe, claimed Crane. See over there, Crane pointed. That needs to be cleaned and flattened. I can do it, cried Bulldozer. So what are you waiting for, kid? Rumbled Roller Truck. Hooray! Squealed Bulldozer. Honking his horn, he zoomed, bumped through to his work site. Once there, he revved his engine. He lowered his blade. Charge! He sat, smoke puffing from his stack for a moment. Then he gave the pile a little nudge, then a second, then a third. And when he'd gotten that pile just right, he hunkered down, hushed and watchful. His motor hummed, soft as a lullaby. Hours passed. He's not done his job. At last, the other trucks bumped to where Bulldozer was working. He hadn't done a single thing they'd asked. I thought he was big enough, boomed Digger. I thought he was rough enough, boomed Scraper. I thought he was tough enough, clattered Grader. Move out of the way, kid, roared Roller. I'll fix that in no time flat. But Bulldozer wouldn't budge. Instead, he whispered, How rude, bellowed Cement Mixer. Behave yourself, rattled Scraper. You mind Roller Truck this minute, claimed Crane. And what do you think Bulldozer replied? Then, above the banging, rattling, rumbling, floated a tiny, sweet sound. The trucks quieted, and in the silence, a chorus of gentle mews rose into the air. Is that what I think it is? Boomed Digger. Bulldozer raised his blade. He moved aside. What do you think is in there? So why didn't he do his job, do you think? Why didn't he just flatten that whole area out? Because there are babies there, right? They're pretty cute, kids, said Dump Truck. But taking care of babies, now that's a rough, tough job. I can do it. right, Bulldozer. I have another page.
Oh, sorry.
The big trucks looked at one another again. We believe you can, Lane Crane. And he did.
The end. Thanks.
We have a few minutes left, and we thought we would ask you guys if you had any questions for us about books, stories, writing, anything that you wanted to ask, or feel free, you can ask us anything. Yeah, you can even ask me how old I am, how much I weigh. I won't tell you the truth, but I'll answer this question. I got started kind of came in backwards to children's books. I was writing at home, mostly because I had to quit my job. My youngest son was more sick, and so I was at home with him. And I started to write, but I was writing stuff for like American History Illustrated, American Baby, kind of writing my life, right? And I sort of backed into it. I wrote a little history piece, and thought, I think this is actually for children, not adults, and sent it to the only children's magazine I knew at the time, which was Highlights. And from there, it sort of just grew into this thing. I discovered that all the writing I was doing, I really hadn't thought about writing for kids, and what I quickly discovered is that I liked writing for children. I think they're the best audience. I couldn't imagine writing for adults.
Yes, Alex.
Was the Cinderella cat thing a dream? Wasn't it a dream?
I did a book called The Cinderella Cats a while back, and what Alex is asking is sort of odd things happen. He gets in a flying boat, and he goes to an island to meet these 5 cats. And things happen that don't normally happen in regular life. So Alex is asking me, is Cinderella Cats a dream? Yeah. So he gets in a flying boat, and eventually they get to this island, and this is what happens. We see the cats, and then the sandfish that he had built comes alive, and then suddenly all the fishes come out of the water. And Alex asked the question, is it a dream? I would ask you, did you think it was a dream?
Well, he built it, and then I saw his eyes closed, but then the fish eyes open.
So he built it in his eyes closed, so that made you think that maybe it was a dream. Maybe. I think it's whatever you think when you read the book. Yeah. Once it leaves my hand.
I think it was imagining.
Yeah. I think so too. He said, I think he was imagining. Yeah. Any other questions?
As an artist, what were the times through maybe high school or college or graduate school where you felt like it required discipline instead of just, I'm so into this, I just have to do it?
I'm still working on that. A deadline always helps. But I like what I do. So most of the time, it's a pleasure. 51% of the time. So, but if you want to do something well, it's hard because you want to keep becoming better. You want to tell a story in a way that keeps people interested, that delights your reader, and that's hard. And so I know that there's going to be thousands of these books out in the world, and that's enough to force me into sticking with it and making sure it's the best book possible. I just finished a book, and I'm kind of going through this typical postpartum depression, that when I finish the book, I have to give it, and I can never change anything. And so, I'm kind of like, okay, it's as good as it's going to be, so, yeah.
Anything else? There's silent group. Yeah.
We have a question. After reading Clever Jack Takes the Cake, we'd like to know, are you allergic to strawberries?
I love that.
Did you guys hear the question?
Yeah.
She said, after reading Clever Jack Takes the Cake, and there's a part of the book where one of the characters is allergic to strawberries. We won't give it away. But then Alex asked, is Candy allergic to strawberries?
Which is interesting. I had sort of challenged myself to write a fairy tale, and I had this editor that does this thing. She throws down challenges all the time. So she's like, let's do a fairy tale. Let's do an original fairy tale. And what I thought was interesting is when I got done with it, what I hadn't realized was that this book is almost like my autobiography, right? Because it's about this kid that walks through his life and he sees things. I was actually taking a cake to the princess's birthday party, and he walks through his life and things happen to him, adventures, and then eventually he spins those little things that he encounters through his life into a story for the princess. And what I hadn't realized was that while Jack walks through his life collecting all these little incidents for a story that he tells someone, what I was doing was collecting all these little incidents from my own life that I ended up putting in this story, that I ended up telling this story to everyone else. So it was like this mirror image sort of thing. So there's a lot of stuff in here that comes from my own life. And the strawberry, at one point, there's someone that has an allergy to strawberries. And in fact, my son Scott has a terrible allergy, strawberry allergy. And so he's just constantly, every fruit salad, every fruit punch, anything. Does that have a strawberry in it? I can't have it. And so it seemed like when I got to the end and I needed one last problem to overcome, and I thought, that's it, right? I'm going to write my own life. I'm going to use the strawberry. So it comes from my own life. Luckily, I'm not allergic to them, but Scott certainly is.
If you don't use it, they can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Now that we're almost done.
Yeah. Is there anything else?
Okay.
Sure.
And it's about Cinderella.
Okay. All right.
Something I recently discovered. I've never seen anything like this. The cover.
Oh, yeah, she asked about the cover.
How did you get that idea?
The original idea for the cover was to just have it without any title, because we thought it would be great if you walk into a bookstore and these cats look back at you. And we got blowback from bookstores, that sort of thing. So they decided to put this on there. Alex, did you also notice that there are cats in the mountains? Right, so there are other things that if you get close. This is the great thing about writing for kids, is children just don't read books, they inhabit them. There's a real difference between seeing and beholding, and our audience crawls inside, becomes part of the story. And so you have to honor that by thinking of every detail, not putting every detail in, but thinking about every detail. And also giving them things to look at throughout the book. Because unlike you and I, we tend to read a book one time, and or maybe two times. But kids, Alex, have you read this more than once?
I read it before at my house, but it was way before this day.
Oh, way before this day, yeah. This is your first day at this church, so you haven't read this in the church yet, but you read it at home.
I read it at home.
Oh, yeah. And did you read it a couple of times at home?
I only read it one.
Oh, the one time, yeah. Well, so much for that. Thanks for helping me out, buddy.
Is that the last question?
Yeah.
Maybe. I think so. Do you want it to be the last question?
Yes, because I want to go out right now.
Okay.
Well,
I think that's the perfect
The boss has
end.
spoken.
I think that's the perfect
And so I want to thank you
end to
guys
this.
for coming
Thanks,
here today.
It was nice and cool in here, though, right? So, thanks so much.
Thanks.